to Intermediate Level English Language Arts.
Hi, and welcome to English Language Arts Grade 6. Our topic for today would be the different uses of nouns. Right. Now, the objectives for this topic would be number one, to be able to familiarize and recognize all of the different uses of nouns, all of it. And number two, to be able to use them in sentences. Now, I'd just like to remind everyone, right, this is going to be a very lengthy topic, but please bear with me. All right. This topic is lengthy because you have to really know all of the different uses of nouns. Why is it important that we know the different uses of nouns? Because kids, you use nouns in almost any sentence, in any way that you use the English language, or not even just the English language, in any language that you use, you always use nouns. Therefore, it is just very important that you know how they are used in sentences and how to use them in sentences as well. Now, take note, kids, right? This is gonna be lengthy, so I want you guys to grab your seats, be comfortable, and listen carefully. Now, let's go first and foremost, right, to what I just said a while ago. Again, nouns are so important, which is why it's very important that you have to know the different uses. In a sentence, you could have a lot of nouns, and they could have different uses. How do I identify all of them? Let's go with the very first one, the very basic one. Subjects. Nouns can be subjects. When you say subject, right, this is basically the one being talked about. This is also the doer of the action. Now take note, when we're talking about sentences, when you say subject, this is basically everything before the verb. But if you're talking about nouns and you say subject, you're only referring to the specific word, the specific noun, which comes to the term simple subject. Here, for example, in number one, the complete subject is the happy townspeople because it comes before the verb decorate. But since we're talking about subjects in the noun as a noun, the nouns used as subjects, you're only referring to the simple subject, which specifically points to the word townspeople. Number two, same is true, farmers. Number three, if you have a proper noun or a compound noun, yes, then you would have to make sure you include every word for it. Like, for example, Pahiyas Festival. All right? This is a very common and very basic topic. We've already discussed this before. Okay. Next would be the use vocative. Now, vocatives are used for sentences that are conversational, right? These are sentences that you use in conversations. These are different from your basic sentences. And sometimes when you have conversational sentences, you have names. You use the name of the person you are talking to, you are addressing. For example, somebody's talking to you. Hey, you, my friend. Hey, you, my classmate. Hey, you, boy, over there. Yes, you, girl. Right? Now, these words are basically vocatives. The names that are used to address the person you're talking to. Take, for example, number one. Mark, are you joining the procession? The person's definitely talking to a person named Mark. The word Mark there is a noun, and that noun is a vocative. Two, happy feast day, my friend. Friend, being called that, friend. Yes, that is a vocative. And three, these decorations, Susan, are called keeping. The person's probably walking and sees the different decorations and he talks to his friend Susan. Therefore, you have that, Susan. These are vocatives. Next, you have appositive. Now, appositives basically, these are words or nouns that give additional information. With or without them, the sentence will still stand. It will still work. Now, appositives, guys, right? They are indicated by commas. If you see that it is in between a comma and it gives additional information, that is an appositive. Your clue? Commas. So, for example, number one, Lukban, a progressive municipality, is the home of the Pahiyas Festival. You're adding information about Lukban. You'd like to say that it is a progressive municipality. Therefore, you give it an appositive, a progressive municipality. Number 2, Pahiyas, an annual festival, is attended by many people. Again, you'd like to give more information about the word Pahiyas. You like to say it's an annual festival, so you put that. Or for example, Sariaya, another town, celebrates this festival. The main sentence there is another town celebrates the festival. But if you'd like to tell what noun or what town, then you say town, Sariaya. Right? Now, in forming appositives, they can be written in many ways. But we will only discuss two. The first one is if it is in between. It is in the middle of a sentence. If it is in the middle of a sentence, then you have to put a comma before and after the appositive phrase. Just take note, it is a phrase. If you'd like to start with it, you don't start your sentence with a comma, no. You start with the appositive and then end the appositive with a comma. Like for example here, Sariaya, another town, celebrates the festival. After your appositive, Sariaya, you put a comma. Yes? These are appositives. Next, subject complement. Complement, these are completing. They complete the what? The subject. Now for subject complements, they are also known as the predicate nouns. And so, what is your clue? Your clue, kids? Look for linking verbs. If you have a noun after a linking verb, and that noun talks about, renames, or basically is the subject, same thing, that is a subject complement. Like for example, number 1, the farmer turned town mayor. Mayor and farmer are the same person. That is a subject complement, mayor. Number 2, Isidro Labrador became a saint. Isidro Labrador and saint are the same person. Therefore, saint there is the subject complement. 3, Quezon is a big province. Quezon and province are just the same thing. Province, therefore, is subject complement. Keepings are rice wafers. Wafers, keepings, the same. Therefore, wafers is not an adjective, it is a noun. Subject complement. He is a boy. Very basic example. He and boy are the same. Therefore, boy there is a subject complement. Alright? Next, we have direct objects. Direct objects, guys, basically, they receive the action. They receive the action. They directly receive the action. To find a direct object, they are after the verb. After an action verb. How do you find it? Verb plus what? Or verb plus to whom? Take for example number 1. The people hang the call for wafers in different ways. Your verb is hang. Hang what? Wafers. Wafers is do. 2. Mangosteen prepared the prizes for the games. Prepared is your verb. Prepared what? Prizes. Prizes is your do. Number 3. Help. Help whom? Parents. Parents is your do. Celebrated what? Number 4. Celebrated Pahiyas Festival. That is your do. Again, to find your do, verb plus what? Yes? Next, indirect object on the other hand, these are nouns that that receive the subject or the verb that receives the action, but not directly. Indirectly. They have to come before the direct object. Why before? If the indirect object is after the direct object, it's not anymore indirect, right? Of course not. Remember the term indirect? It isn't directly going to it. That means it could have passed over it or passed through it before it reaches the direct object. So if it's not blocking the way or it's not in the way, can it even reach it? No. Right? And of course, when you also say indirect object, right? In the sentence patterns, the sentence pattern is always to be STD-IODO. It is not STB-DOIO. IO comes first before your DO. Indirect first before direct. Now, how do you find your indirect object? They answer the questions to whom, to what, for whom, for what. Take example number 1. Matthew gave the farmer some refreshments. Gave what? Refreshments. To whom? There, in bold, farmers. Farmers is your IO. 2. Herbert showed the visitors the rice wafers. Showed what? The wafers. Right? Who did he show it to? He showed it to visitors. Visitors is your IO. Next, you have object of the preposition. Object of the prepositions are easy to spot. They can be in any part of the sentence. It could be in the subject area or the predicate area. One thing's for sure though, an object of the preposition, they come after the preposition. Basically, they receive the preposition. What are your prepositions? You could always just watch my videos for more information about that. But for now, they come after the preposition. Number 1, example. The fiesta is celebrated in Lokban. In is your preposition. In what? Lokban. 2, the visitors stood along the wide streets. Along what? Streets. We stayed under the big acacia tree. Under what? Tree. These words, Lokban, streets, and tree, these are all your object of the preposition. So how do you find it? Look for your preposition. And whatever word receives the preposition, that is your OP. Last use that we will discuss for now, object complements. Now, object complements are a little bit tricky. Unlike SC, subject complements, you have to look for a linking verb. Object complements are different. How? They basically complement, rename, right, the direct object. That's how it works. They come after the direct object. Take, for example, number 1. The people chose Mrs. Texon chairperson. Chairperson is a noun. Mrs. Texon is also a noun. Chairperson and Mrs. Texon are the same persons. It's the same one, right? Therefore, chairperson is OC. Number 2, they elected Dr. Nick Lim governor. Again, Dr. Nick Lim and governor are basically the same person. Therefore, governor is OC, object complement. Number 3, we consider Christine Fiesta Queen. Queen and Christine are the same person. Queen, therefore, is OC. Yes. And these are your different uses of nouns. Take note, they are quite a lot and they can be really confusing and difficult to identify in sentences. How do you find them out? Remember the questions I asked. Remember the ways on finding them. And if you do those things, you accomplish them, you're definitely going to find them. Right? And that basically ends our lesson for the different uses of nouns. Again, if you forget, you could easily just watch this video again to remind yourself of these different uses. Okay? And with that, we end this video. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye!